Hey everyone, you're listening to That Chocolate Talk, where me and my husband,
That's me.
Derek Scarlett, basically talk about our experiences navigating the tech industry as a couple, as Black people, and just in general. So today we're talking about learning to love coding and just learning to code in general. We have done episodes in the past, but we're super inconsistent. But I know we both said that we want to get better with content creation in 2024, and it is now the end of December 2023. So I'm trying to, push us to get there.
Exactly. In the last episode, we did say we don't know when the next episode's coming out.
We did say that. I forgot.
So, there's no timetable. There's no schedule. These episodes come out when we want to. You feel me? When we want. If you're waiting for next episode, you're welcome. Here you go. We got another one coming right now.
All of our fans just waiting. They said, man, it's been 8 months.
Has it been 8 months? It felt longer.
Okay. So let's get into the first part of this topic. It's actually our anniversary. Not our romantic anniversary, but it's the anniversary of us quitting our office jobs that we had. You had a data entry job. I was doing help desk, and we were like, we're just gonna go in blind, and we're going to join this coding boot camp called Resilient Coders that we heard about. We're just not gonna have any job or anything. How do you feel about that risk that you took back in December 2017?
I would say it changed my life. It really did. Who would have thought, looking back, that one little decision would have changed the trajectory of my life? Where it is now,
Yeah.
Before, I didn't know where I was gonna go, what I was gonna do. I was just working this job. The job was boring, wasn't challenging me, and at the time, I was just like, I can't do this no more. I kind of change it up. And when you suggested to do coding, I'm like, I've always been a little bit interested. Let me try it out. And here I am, 2017 was 2023. 6 years later. And I couldn't be more grateful for doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I would say the same. That honestly, I'm really glad that we learned to code in the time that we did, because we have a lot of friends now who are like, yo, this coding thing did work out for you. Can I do it? And then they've signed up, they're learning to code, or they already did, but the job prospects just aren't where they used to be. And I think that we got in at a good time.
Yeah, I think so too. I feel like when we decided to jump in and learn how to code, it was the perfect moment to do so, because during that time period, not many people knew what software engineering was, or not even software engineering, just web development in general. It was still tech companies were still forming and everything. All people knew about Google, people knew about Facebook, Twitter, but they didn't know what happened behind the hood. They didn't know that we're going towards a digital age. So there was a lot of job openings, there was a lot of learning opportunities at the time, and if we went in any later, I don't think we'll be as successful as we are today if we signed up to learn how to code maybe last year or 2 years ago.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, I agree with you to an extent. I think coding was still a thing, but I think especially in the Black community, we're what's that coding thing? You know what I mean? Because I remember when I showed you about coding, you were like, so what are we going to be doing? And I was like, I think web development. I don't really know. I was like, I don't know if I'm coding a mobile app. I don't really know what code it is, but
yeah. I'm that hacking? I can get into a database and steal your data just like that. If the black market, how do I get on the black market?
Yeah. I did not know. We were so confused at like what we were signing up for, but we did it. Oh wait, so I don't want to like discourage people from learning to code just because the job market's really bad.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, COVID was a bad time in America and the world and everything, but it kind of forced the world to kind of move forward in terms of technology. And like a lot of companies were not mobile. A lot of companies, you couldn't go to a website and be like, oh, what's on? Even restaurants, you couldn't go to a restaurant's website and be like, what's on the menu?
No.
At least now, you can. You can go to a restaurant and be like, what's on the menu? You go to your phone, you can order things. You could do
QR codes.
QR codes.
You could go to church online. Remember, I mean, there was church online at some places, but most churches were like, nah, we're not doing that.
Even online giving. A lot of churches are now allowing you to send money virtually. The only way you could give a church money back in the day was check or cash. Check or cash. That's it.
Yeah.
Now churches have like Venmos and Zells and Cash Apps and stuff.
Yeah.
So like technology is advancing and people are coming towards the idea of technology. So like jobs are still there and more jobs are gonna open up in the future. When like more and more companies and people start catching on and realizing that technology is the way to go. So like, I'm not saying that I'm just saying it's a bad market right now. Because right now we're seeing the world of tech where like everyone's getting layoffs and stuff. And most companies are not willing to bring on newer devs. But I feel like that's only a cog in the road. And then eventually, once things start to settle down, then we will start moving towards companies bringing in more and more people again.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think there's something to be said, and I know people like feel really discouraged by this or whatever. It is a tougher, more competitive market right now, but honestly, if you're able to find your niche in terms of like networking and you're really showing like how skilled you are, if you know how to like personally market yourself, then I think you can get a job. Because I've seen a couple of juniors get a job, and I've seen even senior people struggle with landing a new software engineering job after they get laid off or they quit or whatever. And sometimes my observation is, I'm like, you're marketing yourself so bad and you don't even realize it. Like, sometimes I think that.
I think that too. So, like, I still tell people you should learn how to code, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just that now, when we learned how to code, there was more opportunities available.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of people who wanted to learn how to code back then. So there was a lot of opportunities compared to candidates. Now, a lot of people are learning how to code, and there's less opportunities. So now it's like, instead of like 3 opportunities, 2 candidates, it's 3 opportunities, 1,000 candidates.
Yeah. And it's like, now coding is the new hot thing. Everybody's like selling a course. They're like, oh, you should learn to code, this and that. And it's like, before it was more of a bit of the hush thing, or people were like, you're learning to code?
Yeah, that's boring.
Yeah, everybody told us that's boring. I'm
boring.
like, okay, it seemed kind of fun. Okay, that leads me into the next question, because we stayed on this one a little long. And I don't know if we're gonna get canceled from the way we answered it. But okay, do you love coding?
I would say love coding. I have a strong, positive relationship with coding.
Okay. What parts of coding? What do you mean by that? What parts of coding do you like?
I like coding. Like, I like that there's always a new project to work on, new challenges to face, things to learn. Because one of the reasons I got into coding is because, like, I'm the type of person who needs their brain to stay challenged. Like, I need my brain to, I need to be challenged. Or I feel like I'm rotting away, my brain's not working out. And I feel with coding, it gives me that mental stimulation that I need to keep my mind fresh and still entertain me, where I'm not just like wasting hours from day, filling orders or something. The only thing I don't like about coding is the the pressure that comes with it sometimes. Because, like, you know, sometimes companies, like, we need to get this out right now. And, like, you might not be able to get it by the deadline and stuff. Sometimes it can be overwhelming. But, like, outside of that, I like it. I just want to say love, because love means, even with all that negative stuff, I'm still about it. But I'm still about it. I just wish that the negative wouldn't be there.
I will say similarly. I think I really enjoy the process of coding. I think I like the final outcome. I like being like, oh my gosh, and then I could probably do this and this. You know what I mean? Like, I love that. Where I don't like coding, I don't like software engineering. I don't like the life cycle of it all. I know the reasons why. I just don't want to be part of it. Like, I guess what you're saying with the pressure. I think I am somebody that's like a very anxious person. So I don't like when it's like, oh, Rizel, you've had this 2-pointer in the column for 3 days. I'd be like, yeah. I'd be so stressed.
And then they pull you aside and be like, hey, I'm going to talk to you about how you're handling your work. You're like, I'm sorry.
And I felt it was so hard for me to prove that I was working on it. Like, I felt like I was working at jobs where they were implying that I wasn't working on the work. And I'm like, I just have nothing to show for it. I swear I've been plugging away, but there's no positive outcome. It's just errors.
And it's like, and sometimes it's a pride thing. Sometimes it's like, you know, it took me a while to gain humility when it came to like asking for help, asking questions.
Aww.
Because like before, I used to be like, oh, I got it. I don't need no help. And now it's like, oh, I don't know what to do. Hey, do you understand what this is asking me for? And then now I'm just like, bang, bang, bang. Here we go. Next thing. Whereas before, I used to sit and just be like, I don't know. But I don't want to seem like I don't know though.
Yeah. And sometimes it's the environment. There's this environment that's created where if you say, I don't know, everybody starts jumping down your throat.
Yeah. Why don't you know?
Yeah. I would have known that.
You didn't read the documentation.
Yeah.
It's like,
I think
just asked what this was.
Yeah. I think I'm like, I've always just tried to just swallow my pride and ask for help. But I found it confusing where sometimes they'd be like, you're asking too much. So I'll be like, all right, I'll reel it back. And they're like, you haven't been asking questions. And I'm like, okay, I don't really know. So I love coding when it's on my own. I love creating stuff. I love thinking. I love problem solving. But I don't like the pressures of this. I'm working at this startup, I feel like this happened a lot. And we promised the customer we'll have this by next week. But I just told you it's a project that'll genuinely take me 3 weeks. And everyone's like, hello, why is it not out yet?
I guess we could say we do love coding.
Yeah.
We just don't like how coding is.
We don't like software engineering. That's what we don't like. We don't like the team process. Maybe it's the agile workflow or whatever. I love the 2-week sprints because I love coding.
Yeah, I love the possibilities of coding.
Yeah, it's so fun.
It's cool, especially when you finish building something and you're like, wow, I did it.
Yeah, and I love showing off. When I tell people like that aren't in tech, they're like, oh, what did you do? I'm like, just a software engineer.
Nothing crazy.
I just write code. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, have you ever used Twitter or Facebook? You see all that stuff going on? I could do that. Yeah. I know React. But yeah, that's me.
Yeah, we love coding. Just some aspects we don't really like.
Yeah, the team aspect.
If someone said if you had to go back to do what you did before, would you do it? I say no.
Oh, you mean your old job?
Yeah, if I had to pick between going back to my old job or continuing to code. I ain't going back.
Yeah, me too. Honestly, though, I mean, I would say I pivoted into DevRel because I didn't like that software engineering team workflow. I was like, I can't do this anymore. It's literally, I had so much anxiety in me. Like, I always tell you this, where like my muscles were hurting for so many weeks that when I was on the bus and tried to go home, like I couldn't stand up. So I was like, I don't think I could be a software engineer. I want to do something where I could still code, but I don't want to be a software engineer. Yeah. Like, DevRel was it for me.
Exactly. Because you like, I want to code still, just not in this environment. Me, I don't mind that environment too much. Sometimes it'll get to me, but most of the time, I'm like, I'm chilling.
I think that leads to another good question on what do you think makes us different as software engineers? Because I be trying to describe it to people. And both times I try to describe it, sometimes I make one of us sound worse than the other. And I'm like, it's not that. We just have different strengths. It's not like one person's a bad engineer and the other person's not. Like, even sometimes I'll be like, oh, I'm trying to figure out how to do this. And they're like, why don't you ask Derek, bro? I'm like, I don't know if Derek's like as experienced on that. But then there's other things that you do in your everyday to day that I'm like, I will never know how to do that. And I don't even know if that's like my interest.
Yeah, I agree. I think the difference between us is more, you like more of the innovation that comes with coding. Like, you like discovering new things, figure out things work, and then showing people how those things are, what you can do with them. Whereas I'm more someone who just likes to just work on it and just like go on to something next. I'm like, all right, I did this, what's next? I feel like software engineering was probably more up my alley, whereas software engineering is more like building, producing, and then, you kind of go on about your day. Where you're more like, I love this, I want to see more of it. And by the way, did you see this? You love to show people what you just did, what you just learned. Whereas software engineering, you don't really show people you learn. You more just do something and then you on to the next.
Yeah, I think that sounds accurate. I'm more like, I liked what you said about innovation. I am very passionate about innovation. I like, that is so cool that you could do that. But you are more into, maybe, I don't know, you tell me if I'm wrong, the maintenance of a project. You could stay on something for long. I don't know if it's because I have ADHD, but I don't want to be on the same project for too long. After I did some of the front end, now I want to try out the back end. Now I want to do some DevOps for the project. And now I want to abandon it and find a new project. Whereas you're like, I could write tests all day long.
Yeah. I could be like, I can work on this. It's cool.
Yeah.
You want to try something else? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe. You're just like, oh, I don't want to play with you anymore.
Yeah. I am. I get over it quickly. I'm like, I'm done. I don't want this. And you're like, you like the stability, I feel like, of a project. All right. I think my question to you is gonna be, what did you struggle with when you were learning to code? Like, what concepts that maybe you were like sitting in coding boot camp, or you were early as a software engineer, like your first job or first month or whatever, and you're like, yo, I will never understand this concept. But fast forward to today and you're like, yeah, it's easy, I get it.
I guess I know back in the day, APIs used to freak me out. I'd be like, yo, like, I just get the data from here? Like,
oh my god, they did freak you out.
I'm like, I don't understand. Like, I mean, I just get the data. All you gotta do is just, get the data and put it in a way that you can read it the way you want to. I'm like, all right.
You did freak out. Remember that time I was like so mad at you because we were like working together on a project and you was not contributed. Like, you would usually contribute. I will always, like, you were like one of the top in the class, and I'll always see you partnering with people and contributing. I'm like, let's do this API project together. And you just sat there, and I was like, come on! But that's just because you didn't know.
Like, use what?
Yeah.
Now, even today, I'd be like, how does GraphQL even work?
Gotcha.
How do you get the values? But it's not that deep. Yeah. Once you try it out and then you understand how the data looks, how you get the data, and how you want to format that data, you'd be like, oh, okay, all right, it's not that crazy.
Yeah.
Especially as someone who's front end heavy as me, I just understanding how the data comes in makes my job a lot more easier than if I don't even know how the data looks like. And then they're like, oh, I need you to use this. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I think APIs made so much sense to me. And that was like the first time in coding bootcamp that I was getting something. Because let me tell you, remember, and in the beginning of coding bootcamp, I wasn't doing well. I was so confused at margins and borders and padding, but everybody was like out here doing their HTML and CSS mad fast. And I was like, I don't get how to make the box. But APIs made sense to me because of like some past experiences I had. Like I learned SQL before coding bootcamp, and during help desk I had to interact with an API. Like when I worked in help desk and as a data analyst intern at HubSpot, I was like, oh, okay. I was confused about APIs then, but when we did coding bootcamp, I was like, oh shoot, I know what this is. I did this before. It's all coming together. So that made sense for me. Okay, you know what is really embarrassing that didn't make sense for me? I did not get iteration at all, like looping. You literally, every single time we will be like maybe doing like a practice interview or code wars or something like that. You're like, I know what we need, a for loop. And I would be like, how did he know that? How did you know? I kept asking, and it's because it was an array. What?
I'm gonna go get it.
I'm like, I don't know how to get this data out, this array. I laugh at the fact I struggle with that because now like it's so easy.
I get it. Some of these algorithms and data structures, you be like, what? But like after a couple tries, we go, oh, okay, I see. But even then, it's just like, if you didn't know about this algorithm or data structure, you wouldn't know how to do this. Like, how am I supposed to do this?
Yeah, that's why you like hash maps now. You studied them things.
Yeah,
you're like, I'm gonna use a hash map
right now.
Yeah,
a queue. Oh, it's over. I'm using this queue.
I love queues. You love queues too?
Yeah,
that's my thing. I'm like, I love it because they got first in, first out, last in, first out.
Yeah,
I'm like, hey, I got it.
You want a linked list? I got you.
You got a linked list too, babe? Good job. I love linked lists. Anyways, let me stop. We're out here geeking out about data structures. Oh, what strategies did you use to help you pick up coding?
What strategies do I use?
Yeah.
I guess,
like, even if it was back then or now, either one.
I guess for me, my learning style is kind of like, I need to see an example of it, and then I need to try to apply that example myself. So like a lot of times, I need to see like, oh, you need to do this. I'm like, all right, well, has someone ever done this before, or am I making it from scratch? And they're like, oh, you're making it from scratch. I'm like, oh, I'm making it from scratch. And I'm like, all right, so what are the main parts of this do I need to do? And they'd be like, boom, 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 you need to do these 2 things. And I'm like, all right, well, now I need to figure out these 3 things so that I can do the one big thing. And then I gotta go ahead and apply that to whatever I want to do. So I'm always just like, I need to understand the how so I can understand the why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kind of like, how do you do this? Oh, you do it like this? Oh, you do it like this because you need to do this to do that.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, I get it now. Instead of being like, oh, you want to do something like this because this, and this. And I'm like, all right, I understand. I want to do it because of this, and this. But how would I do that though?
Yeah. I think I'm similar. I really think I'm similar. I like that you described it that way because I thought you were going to say, I'm a visual learner or whatever. But I recently learned that those type of learning styles are not even real. People are multimodal learners, so they need a mixture of all of these. But I will agree with you. There's so many software engineers or more experienced software engineers that I disagree with them on this. Anytime that I'm trying to learn a new concept or approach a new thing, they always want me to know the why first. And I'm like, I suck at this. Like, I don't think this is helpful for me. Maybe this is helpful for you. Like, you need to figure out why you're doing something. I'm like, no. I need to figure out how I'm doing something. And then my brain will start to connect the why. Because if you tell me the why first, I'm like, I honestly don't care. And it still doesn't make sense to me. I don't know why I'm this way.
But like, I still don't know how to do this.
Yeah. I'm like, my brain usually wants to be like, how exactly do I do it? Then I can kind of reverse engineer it and be like, okay, this is happening because of this. Yes, all right, exactly. This makes so much sense to me. But everybody's always like, you need to know the why. Go read this. And I read it, and I'm like, this is very theoretical to me. Right. I really want to see how I can apply it. Then exactly. I can go backwards. Go ahead.
Where it's like, I just did this, and then you go read back to see like why you did this. Like, oh, I see why I did this.
Yeah.
Okay, now that I know how I did it, I can connect the dots.
Mm-hmm. But I wonder if many people don't think this way. Because when I've tried to like argue that, people get upset at me. And like, okay, I have another quick question. Do you think, because this is related for me, do you think that the approach that you took to learning in school transfers over to this approach that you have now? You could say no or yes, but do you think that? Because I think it is for me. I think I've like mastered my learning style in high school because I was so obsessed with I want to be successful one day that I will like know that in order for me to pass my math test, I need to assign myself practice problems without like my teacher assigning it to me. And then after I do those practice problems, I need to go back and read. Like, I know, because I knew I wasn't the strongest at math, or it takes me a little bit longer. So I'm like, I took that same approach with coding, and people are like, no, you need to do it this way. But I'm like, that's not how my brain works. What about you?
Yeah, I'll say I was the same way from high school. You could tell like what classes I did excelled in and what classes I didn't excel in. Like, I would excel in math because math was like, what's 2? How do you get 2? 1 plus 1. All right, cool. Boom, that's how you do it. Whereas I was struggling in classes like reading, because it'd be like, what did you get from reading this? And I'd be like, the Huckleberry Finn didn't want to paint the fence. And he'd be like, no, because of racism. I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, got it.
You're like, I can't get the hidden themes. No, I love reading and writing. I just knew, all right, for me to ever even be comfortable or excel at math, I have to take a slightly different approach. But that's so funny. Okay, talking about reading and your learning style in terms of documentation. There's this debate on Twitter, and I think I might have given my boss the idea that I might not like to learn. But so basically, the thing that people believe is that if you read documentation end to end, you will become that top 1% of software engineers. You'll become an expert at what you do, and you'll beat out everybody. But what do you think of that? Do you think that's something that's effective to you? Do you agree with that?
I don't know. It's the same way like before. Like, I feel like it depends on the documentation. Cause you have some documentation out there where it's just all why. Whereas you have some computation where it's like you get why, and then they give an example of how you can apply that why, and then you be like, okay, cool. I can read this, and I now know how I can apply this. Whereas like some documentation is like, here you go, just read this, and you're like, okay, well, how do I apply this? And someone shows you, and then you go back and like, oh, okay, I can see why I did this. But you can see how that reading the documentation is helpful. People are like, oh, just read documentation. I'm like, okay, I can read documentation, but like in the documentation, I don't. If the documentation doesn't help me apply what I just learned, then reading is not going to do anything for me. I'm still going to need someone to help me apply what I just learned to what I'm trying to do. Whereas you have documentation that help you apply what you're learning, then you can be like, all right, cool. And then you wouldn't have to read the whole documentation because you go to different parts of the documentation, what you would need to do. And then you could apply it. And then once you need more knowledge, you can go back and get the knowledge that you need. where it's like just reading all of it. You have all this knowledge, but then you're like, all right, but which one do I need to use? Like,
yeah, I think I'm the same. I am going to try it out. One of my goals is to read the TBD Web 5 documentation end to end for like maybe these, before I start 2024. Because I'm like, I don't know how to explain a lot of stuff right now, like aloud. But I know I'm an active learner, just like you said. I know I'm an active learner, and I just feel like when there's a lot of documentation, which most documentation is, they're just explaining, why are we doing something? I'm like, okay, like I said, that's not really helpful to me. I need that, like, here's the step-by-step tutorial. Then in between, you start explaining why you're doing that and all that. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Or like after, like I don't really want to read about the philosophy of React hooks. I want to see how I use it, type it out, and then be like, cool. And then now I'm like, wait, when would I not use this? When would I use this? I don't know why my brain is this way. I don't know if maybe we're wrong for this.
Oh, maybe sometimes it used to be overwhelming.
Yeah,
like imagine
it is. It's like so much information.
Yeah, imagine trying to build like a chair, and the chair comes with like 3 booklets of instructions.
Oh my god!
You're not gonna build a chair.
Yeah,
because you're like, well, I'm gonna have to read through three booklets to work this thing out. I'm not doing that.
And they're like, this chair is made of mahogany wood from Asia or whatever. Like,
and then it tells you this wood is this good because you're just like, all right, but like,
how do I put it together?
I put part A, part B.
Yeah, that's all I want to know, especially when you're on the job. Like, who has time for all this? Like, I mean, I think as a dev rel, I might have time for that. But like, when I remember being a software engineer, it's like, you need to finish this now. Here's the project. Like, this might take me a while to read through.
Like, imagine I need to get this data from this database, and someone says, here's the docs on how to do that. And it's a 60-page PDF doc that they said, just read that and you'll be able to do it. And it's just like, all right.
I'm like, give me a working code snippet. I'm going to copy it. Then I'm going to read through it and be like, wait a minute, how does this work though? Maybe I'll console log a couple things, and maybe then I'll go back to the docs and be like, what exactly is this? Why does this happen? I just get the information that I need to know. I'm going to need to know basis type of girl.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So like, read the documentation on everything. I get it though. I understand why you should and how you should do it. But in the real world situation, you're not gonna have time to search through this style of documentation. Sometimes you need to do one thing.
Yeah.
And I don't need to go through the 60-page PDF.
Yeah. Or maybe some people feel like that's their way of effective learning.
Yeah.
They absorb so much information through reading. Because I think my teammates do. I'd be like, dang, you guys you understood every single thing. I'm like, I might be slow. I don't know. I just need to I need to take information at little bits at a time. I don't want it all at one time. All right, moving into one more debate, and then we're going to ask your fun question. The other debate I've seen on Twitter was the fact that there's no such thing. I talked to you about this a little bit earlier, and my perspective kind of changed, so I don't want to like shock you. But like, the difference between being a math person and a non-math person. This person is saying, or the person on Twitter is saying, like, those different personas don't really exist. I want to see if I can find their tweet so I don't misquote them. This person said, the idea that there are math people and not math people as innate characteristics is harmful uniquely in American mythology and a part of the reason we lag in so many countries in math education. We still are looking for the math gene like clowns. And his handle is Shiminy Cricket.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I was like, I guess you could say that, but like, I just feel like there are people out there who tend to, I'm not saying everyone has the skills to learn math.
Yeah.
But if you don't care about math, you're not gonna go and learn to be, you're gonna struggle with math. You're like, this is not something I'm interested in or something I like to learn. Whereas like it's like, oh, I like to read, so I'm gonna excel in English literature and stuff like that. Everyone can learn how to read, but if you don't really care to read, your vocabulary is not gonna be the best. And like you kind of get put in like two boxes. You got you're out of the box thinkers and you're in the box thinkers. Usually people who are think inside the box stay in the box.
Yeah. I think people like open my eyes a little bit more to what they meant. And it's like, I guess they're saying that like a lot of people label themselves as like bad at math because that's what they've been told. Like, I never really thought of this perspective, I guess. Like, somebody told them they're bad at math when they were kids, and they never, like, told themselves, yeah, I might be actually good at math. They're like, I'm just bad at math. Like, they label themselves that way, and then they limit their potential and never go into, like, a job like that. You know what I mean? A job that has to do with math. But I always, and I guess people disagreed with me. I feel like what you said a little bit, where skill is part of, you develop your skills part of your like interest. You're like, I'm interested in this motivates me, this excites me, so I'm going to invest more time into learning it. But I guess I didn't think from the perspective of some people decided to not spend as much time in there because somebody told them they're bad at math. But I do think everybody can be good at math. I just think some people might be like exceptionally talented at math. And I don't, that's the part where I'm like, I don't know, there are some people who are like top 1%, just like there's people who are like the top 1% software engineer. You're like, wow, yeah, anybody can get there. Anybody can get there. But that is a math person. That's a software engineer. That's someone that's there like, I want to do this. I like this. I love it. I'm living for it. Okay.
I agree.
Yeah, but you know, I don't know if we're gonna get canceled. I don't know. But
I don't know. I'm not saying you don't have the ability to learn. So some people, it might come more natural to them.
Yeah. There was the people in the tweets were saying like, that's not a thing. Like, you don't have an innate natural ability to be more math focused. Okay.
Yeah, I've seen basketball players who are 7 feet and they can't play basketball. And I've seen basketball players who are 7 feet who are some of the best players in the league, in the world. I'm not saying that the other 7-footer can't learn how to be just as good, but it's like Giannis. You try to compare Giannis Antetokounmpo to Taco Fall. Like, Taco Fall, I mean...
Taco Fall!
I think that man, he's 7'6", he's slow. Giannis is not slow. And yeah, he's 6'10", 7 feet.
Yeah. But do you think that if Taco Falls practiced more and applied himself, that he would be better? And Giannis is from a non-natural talent.
No, Giannis is from a natural talent where Taco Fall is, even though they're on similar sizes.
And you don't think
I don't think if Taco Fall tried as hard, Taco Fall might try harder than Giannis, and he might still not get to that level.
That's okay. Yeah.
And it's not because he can't, it's because Giannis just has the more natural talent.
Yeah. I think my views are so mixed now that I had those conversations on Twitter, because I'm like, okay, I can see how belief in yourself, maybe Giannis's dad believed in him or whatever, and then he's like, yeah, I can do it, and now he's like really good and he really applies himself. But I still kind of feel like, I don't know, like, I think both can be true. On like people being math people and not being math people. From like, okay, when your parents told me a story of how when you were like 5 years old, you were like doing math problems and math games, that they were like, what? We didn't even teach this guy that. And like both your parents were accountants, whereas my mom is like a writer, like more on the English reading and English side and the reading side, and she always read to me. And although my parents still taught me math too and made me do math workbooks, it's not something I was really drawn to. And I feel like it's something that I have the ability to be good at if I apply myself. But it's not something that I enjoy, and I don't know, something about the feeling of enjoyment. I'm like, this is natural to me. It's like with software engineering versus DevRel. I'm like, I'm good at DevRel and I love DevRel, and it's not something where I'm like, dang, this is so difficult. I don't know how to do it. But with software engineering, I'd be sitting there like, oh my gosh, I cannot do this. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Pick your side. I don't know. I see both perspectives. I see all perspectives. I'm a guy who is willing to learn and gain knowledge.
Yeah.
So I see from all perspectives. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I do too, I guess. Yeah. That's why I'm conflicted.
And I'm open to all perspectives.
Yeah. But and I agree that the rhetoric that people are bad at math is bad. It's not good. Yeah. It's harmful. But I think
to say that people don't have a natural
exceptional
talent for math, I feel like that is not the case. I feel like some people are naturally have the ability to learn math at a higher rate than others.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. What?
I believe that.
Yeah.
But I also believe that the rhetoric saying you can't do math is also toxic.
Yeah.
Hinder your growth.
Yeah. Anybody could do math.
Anyone could do math.
All right.
It's just, it might be easier for some people than others.
Yeah. All right. Let's move out of the tech. Give me your best comic book movie of the year that you watch. We know you're a movie buff. And worst comic book movie of the year.
I got a controversial take, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah? Oh, wait, you sent me?
There were 8 movies that came out.
Okay, tell me.
This year in 2023.
Yeah.
Ant-Man, Shazam, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Across the Spider-Verse, The Flash, Blue Beetle, The Marvels, and Aquaman.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Aquaman came out last week. I haven't watched it yet. It probably won't be in my top 3, so I'm not even going to worry about that. I haven't seen The Marvels either, so I'm not worrying about that. But it probably wouldn't be my top 3 either. So I'm going with the top 6. I've seen the other ones. And I have to say, first of all, The Flash. Yeah.
Bull! Sorry.
Blue Beetle was nice. Had a nice family story, good character development. You know what I mean? It was nice. Better than The Flash, I'll give you that much. Better than Shazam. Shazam didn't know what they wanted to do. And better than Quantumania. But anyway, my top 2 were Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Which one you put above?
And I have to say, I like Guardians of the Galaxy 3 a little bit more than Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, even though I love Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man so much, I bought the Miles Morales Spider-Man mask so that I could wear it around the house sometimes.
I'm dead.
But I like Guardians of the Galaxy 3 just a little bit better. I thought. But it's like, you know, Guardians was the ending of a story, whereas Across the Spider-Verse was the middle of the story. So you could understand why I would like that one more. But out of all the comic book movies, I think Guardians was the best. Spider-Man was the second. I probably even put Blue Beetle as number 3. Blue Beetle was nice. And then everything else, out of here.
I don't appreciate your commentary on the Marvels.
I haven't seen the Marvels.
We didn't watch it, and you said you probably wouldn't put it at the top. We don't know.
I don't know. I watched
Cleona Paris.
I've watched WandaVision and I've watched Miss Marvel, so I would understand the movie more than other people.
Oh, more than other people?
Because some people might have not watched Miss Marvel.
Oh,
or WandaVision.
I was like, okay.
So they probably don't even know who those characters are.
Oh yeah. All right, let me tell you mine. Well, I'm gonna say this. My top 2 is Blue Beetle and Across the Spider-Verse.
Wow.
Guardians is third. And I don't know, I'm just not like a huge Guardians of the Galaxy fan like you are. But I let Across the Spider-Verse win. And second is Blue Beetle for me. I thought The Flash was bad. Boo.
Did you like The Flash more than Shazam?
What happened in Shazam?
Shazam is when the whole family got powers, but they wanted to start doing their own thing, and then these gods came back because they lost their power and they wanted to take the power back from the earth.
I like Shazam better.
Yeah, Shazam. I like Shazam.
It was at least more entertaining.
Yeah, and I love The Flash.
Yeah, I love the Flash too. We will watch the show together.
This watching the Flash is maybe mad because it has so much potential.
They should have cast the CW Flash, and I would have liked it better.
And they made the Flash. I'm going to on it.
All right. Is there anything you want to end with? Oh, you didn't say your worst. Oh, is that our worst?
Yeah.
We think the Flash is the worst.
I haven't seen the Marvels and I haven't seen Aquaman, but I bet you $10 I like those movies more than I like the Flash.
Yeah, me too. Flash is bad. I'm sorry.
Ant-Man was okay. My only issue with Ant-Man was the jokes. The jokes got in the way of the movie, I thought.
Yeah, me too.
And then Shazam. Shazam was good.
It had potential.
It had potential. My problem is the story was kind of
all over the
place. And then the guy who plays Shazam did not match the energy of the guy who plays the kid version.
He really overdoes being a kid. Like, you're 17 and he'll be like...
In the movie, he's turning 18 in like 6 months.
Yeah.
And he's acting like he's 13.
Yeah, he'd be like, no, how to do
he'd be crying
anything.
And he turns to Shazam and Shazam's like crying anymore. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah. And I almost feel the little boy version of Shazam is more mature than the older one.
And the older version.
Yeah, I'd be like, what? What's happening? But yeah, I agree with that. All right. Well, this was a great episode. Thank you for taking the time to chat with me about all of these concepts and questions. I know I went longer than I said I would. Sorry.
It's okay.
But I had a good time. Thanks for sharing, and I hope everybody else, thank you for listening to us. I hope y'all have a great 2024.
Yep. And make sure you stay on your toes for the next episode.
Yeah.
Who knows what's coming out? But
might be next week, might be next year.
But make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.
All right. Bye.